Hi everyone, welcome to Stamp Designs with Denise. I'm Denise Johnson, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, coming to you from Bedford, New Hampshire. So welcome. If you're watching this video live or watching it in replay, please give me some thumbs up. If you like a card, hit the little heart, give me some love. It helps me keep this page going and doing free stamping classes for you. Today we're going to talk about, well, I'm going to make 3 cards with you, but we're also going to talk about the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine that Stampin' Up! Just came out with. It is going to be for sale starting September 1st, which is, believe it or not, September next Tuesday already. So, hi Karen, looks like Karen just came on and is watching us, welcome. So I must be live, and I'm hoping that she can hear me and my video is going my volume on that is going good. So the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is, if you have a Big Shot, it's very, very similar to that. Stampin' Up! Has come out with their own version of it. And so I was able to pre-order it as a demonstrator. You can do that. So I've been playing with it a little bit, so I'm going to show it to you today and talk about it. So I'm going to get my camera flipped around here and go over a few things, and then we'll talk about the Stampin' Cut Emboss machine, and then we will make some cards. So let me make sure, it looks a little crooked. Straighten you out, and then we'll go over a few housekeeping things. Okay, it looks like we might be centered now. The paper pumpkin that is coming out in September is going to be autumn themed treat packages. So they are going to have Halloween or fall themed. You can make your treat packages however you like. If you're not a Halloween fan, they will have other fall type items in there. And then of course you can always use the items in this to make cards. I always do alternate cards for the paper pumpkins, and if you are a subscriber of mine, I will send you a PDF file that contains at least 10 alternate projects using this paper pumpkin kit. There'll be a link on the blog. If you're interested in more information, you can ask me, or you can click on the link and you can sign up that way. If you placed an order in July, they gave out bonus coupons. You have until August 31st to redeem your bonus coupons. So make sure you do that. You don't want to lose that free money. And then, so the Stampin' Cut Emboss machines. I showed it to you. This is what it looks like. It has, it's about 8 pounds. It is a little heavy. It has these 2 platforms that fold out and fold down, so it makes it easy to carry and transport and store. It makes it a little bit smaller. Weighs 8 pounds. You can do die cutting and embossing folders on it. It's simple to make your sandwich, to do your die cutting and your embossing, and the plates are all labeled with numbers and color coded for easy use. And your machine will come with 1 base plate, 1 die plate, 2 cutting plates, and a specialty plate. So I will show you all those. So this is the base plate. This is what they're calling the die cutting plate. These are 2 cutting plates where you will put your dies on. As you can see, I've used a little bit. It's a little bit scored from my dies that I've used. And then this, the 4th one, is for embossing. So on this, the base plate, it gives you your recipe for how to do this. When you're using a thin die, it's going to tell you you're going to use plate number 1, plate number 2, and then your 2 cutting plates, which are the 3s. So you will layer it like that. You'll put your paper on here, then you'll put your die, and then this will go on top. So with the embossing folder, they have 2 types of embossing folders. Some are 3D embossing folders, and some are just regular. And they actually say right on them This is a Winter Snow embossing folder. But this one says Cobwebs 3D embossing folder. So you will know that this is a 3D folder. And then you can follow which recipe on here is the right one. So if you're just doing this standard embossing folder, this is the snowflake one, which looks like that. You would do your base plate, your number 3 plate, and then put your paper in your embossing folder and the other number 3 plate on top of that and run it through. But if you're using the 3D one, you would need your base plate, your embossing folder, the paper in the middle, and then you're using this number 4 specialty plate. So it's nice. They're all numbered and they give you right on this how to do it. So you're not trying to keep track of papers and directions and all that kind of stuff. It's right on here. So we are going to use it. I am going to do one die cutting with it and one embossing with it. That will be for the projects we're using today. So let me just clear some space out here. And it looks like Cheryl has signed on. Hi Cheryl, welcome. So I have a very vanilla sheet of paper, 4 1/4 by 5, and then I'm using one of the layering oval shapes. I used washi tape on mine just because I wanted it perfectly centered on this piece of paper, so I did put the washi tape on it to make sure it didn't move. So again, I'm looking at my directions. I'm using a die, so I want to do the number 1 plate, the number 2 plate. I need a cutting plate, number 3, and then I'm putting my paper with my die right on there. My number 3 top plate, and then just cranking it right through. And there, it came out really nice. And just gotta be gentle with the washi tape so you don't rip the paper, but so that's how you would do the dies. We're gonna put that aside because I'm using that on the first card we're going to make. And then for the embossing folder, I am going to use this Cobwebs one, which is the 3D. I have a piece of Mango Melody. So I'm going to put that in my folder. And then go back to my directions here. So with the 3D embossing folder, I want the number 1 plate and the number 4 specialty plate. So a tip for these embossing folders is I am going to put my creased side in first, so it goes through first, because the pressure of this, there's some physics behind this, but I don't know what that is. It will press everything this way, and if you have it this way and it's pressing against your seam, it could puts too much pressure on the seam of that and it will rip or just cause it to bend. So put my number 4 plate on the top, crank it right through, and there we go. There are my spider webs all embossed on that sheet of paper. And this, so that'll fold it up nicely. This does have rubber feet on the bottom, which is nice. I actually had it on my piece of paper, so it was kind of sliding a little bit, but the rubber feet keep it from sliding on your table. So I'm gonna put that away. I'm gonna put this spider web embossed piece away. We're gonna use that on the second card we're making. And we'll get started here. So our first card is, so I'm using sponging techniques today. So you can buy sponges from Stampin' Up. They look like this. They're actually a pretty low cost item. You get 3 of them for $4. They come like this, and what I do is I get a big pair of scissors and I cut them into 6 pie-shaped like that and use them like that. They're reusable. They do get stained. Here are some I was using. They do get stained, but you can keep reusing them. I just rinse them in the faucet, let them dry out, and the color, once they're dry, the color doesn't carry over to a new color. And they do eventually, as you can see, it gets a little bit pilly and stuff, but they're inexpensive enough. Just throw them away when they get like that and get out some more. So we'll put those aside, and our first card, I'll get out all my supplies here, is going to use the Life is Beautiful set. So I wanted to do this tree, and so the pieces of this, my card base is going to be 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. That's going to be my card base. And then we have that piece that I die cut with the layering oval, and this is 4 1/4 by 5. And we don't need the centerpiece. You can use that on a different project. This is going to be, I'm going to do some masking. And then I have 2 pieces of Very Vanilla, 4 by 5 1/4, and my Bermuda Bay layer is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. So I need my Very Vanilla layer, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to center this over it, and I use a little bit of washi tape again to hold it in place so it doesn't slide while I'm doing this. And I like the washi tape because it's not going to rip my paper when I try and tear it off. So I put a little washi tape. The colors I'm going to be using are Calypso Coral, Early Espresso, Bermuda Bay, Coastal Cabana, and Petal Pink. So for my sponging, I'm going to start with the Petal Pink, and I do have a piece of scrap paper right here. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of ink. Sometimes it blotches on there, so I kind of want to get it nicely on my sponge, and then I'm going to come over and just rub it across the middle. This is a light color, so it's not showing up very good. So I'm just going around in circles across the center of that oval. Okay, I think that's good. So I'm going to set this sponge away and not use it again because it's got that color on it, and I don't want to cross-contaminate my colors. So I'm going to do the Calypso Coral next. And so this is a little darker so that you're going to see this right away. So it's going to come in on the bottom half of this oval. And I want this bottom part a little darker, so I'm going to go back in, add some more in the bottom part. Put that away, get a new sponge for my sorry, I keep calling this Bermuda Bay. It's Coastal Cabana. And then this is going to come in at the top of my oval. I take a little bit of ink first because I don't want to go in too dark at first. You can always add color. You can't take color away. So I do want it darker up at the top here. So I'm going to try and bring in some more right at the top. Okay, so I'm going to gently take off my washi tape, and this is the look that I wanted on this layer. The oval shape was the masking, and then I sponged on that. So what we're going to do is, using this Life is Beautiful, I want to put my tree right here, and I wanted that as the background. So sometimes when I have really big stamps like this, I actually will use the stamp pad on this stamp rather than the other way around. I'll add my color this way. So then I'm going to center my tree, come right in and put that down there. Now the other thing we have is there's a little birdhouse with this. But as you can see, there's little birds flying next to it. So I'm actually going to use my Stampin' Right markers to color those in. So I'm coloring in the house with the Early Espresso. I didn't want brown birds too, so then I'm using the Bermuda Bay to color in the birds. So you can do this on any of your stamps. You can use markers to color them in and add a couple different colors. So what I do is actually I huff on it because it keeps it a little bit moist, and then stamp it down on here. Now I didn't do the string on the stamp because I'm going to use some baker's twine to hang from that. Or actually linen thread, I guess, is what I have. So now I have some leaves that I want to do to put on my tree, and I'm going to do that in the Calypso Coral. And just stamp them on our branches here, like that. And then this other this other Very Vanilla layer is the layer I'm going to put inside the card. So I'm going to add some leaves to the corners of this. And that will go inside our card base. The sentiment I have for this is thinking of you. I'm going to do that in the Early Espresso. Right here. And so I have the linen thread, and I'm going to use glue dots to attach it. So I'm kind of actually going to ball it up a little bit. Put that up here at the top of the branch. Put one on top of my birdhouse. Right there, and then I just need a very short little piece. And then I also have these metallic pearls that I'm going to use sort of as my hooks for my thread. Right there, like that. And then we're just gonna layer our card. So I have the Bermuda Bay layer. And this will go on our card base. And then this is our inside layer. So that's how you would do masking and sponging. That's our completed card. So let me just put all my stuff out of the way and we will start our next card. So our next card is a Halloween card. So this is the one I did the spider web where I showed you how to emboss it. This is 4 inches by 5 1/4. All of the measurements I will put on my blog and on this Facebook video. Once it's done, I can attach all the measurements for it. So this card is going to use, get everything out of my bucket here, the Celebration Tidings bundle. So it has different, it has the Halloween, the fall, Thanksgiving, and Christmas sentiments and some decorations on it. And then the bundle includes this Celebration label dies, which cuts out all these different size dies. So the card we're going to make is going to have a fun fold on it. And I'll show you how to do that using these dies. So I have a card base, which is basic black, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. Then I also used a piece of the Plaid Tidings Designer Series paper, and I die cut it out using one of the second shape. And then I also have a pumpkin pie layer that I die cut using the smallest shape. We have a scrap piece of the Mango Melody, and then I have a piece of Whisper White that is 4 by 5 1/4, and that will be our inside piece. So what I wanted to do for this is I am going to use Memento Black, and because it's a Halloween card, I'm going to put ink all across the side around the edge of this Mango Melody layer. It just kind of brings in that black from the side, and since it's Halloween, I thought it would be good. This is actually called flecking. It's not a bad word. It is what it's called. So I'm just going all the way around and adding some color to the edges. So that's what it will look like when it gets attached onto that. And then I am actually also going to do this on the inside layer so that will be in there, and I'm going to do some flecking all the way around this one as well. And then maybe I'll do my stamping here first since the black is out. So what I want is, in this stamp set, they have these little spiders. So I am going to stamp these and then die cut them out. And then my pumpkin pie layer. I'm going to do the sentiment right in the middle of that. It says happy haunting. And then I'm using this decorative spider web. And I'm just gonna kind of add some detail around my sentiment with it. Like that. I think that's all the stamping done. So with this piece that I cut out, I used my paper trimmer and I scored right down the center where those two little notches are, so I could fold this in half. Because what I want to do is, this is going to be our fun fold. I'm going to attach it to the back side there, and then it's going to fold over the front. So this is the way I did this, which I found worked easiest for me. I think I put my tape away. Attached my tape to this one side on the back side. I figured out centered where I wanted it, folded it over here, and then closed my card like that, so it ended up taped to the back there. So now it folds nicely and flat when it's folded. Oh, I'm gonna put some spiders on my inside piece so they'll carry over from the front. I'll put two down here, crawling up the page. Okay, now I think I'm done with my stamping. So then this can get attached on the inside. And I'm going to attach this Mango Melody layer here. So I have those three spiders that I stamped. I had stamped some and cut them out earlier using the dies, and I'm going to use, Stampin' Up! Has black Stampin' dimensionals, so you're not going to really see them, but I'm going to use those on my spiders. And what I want to do is, I want to place one so that when the card is closed, it acts as a little latch for this and holds it closed. So maybe right about there should do it. And then I'm just going to place the other ones out here on the spider web. I also have a piece, there is this metallic mesh ribbon, which I thought is kind of really cool. I have about 8 inches of that, and I'm going to sort of just twist it and attach it to the back of this sentiment. It just gets, I use tape, hold it in place. And then I'm going to attach my sentiment to that piece using dimensionals. And there we go, there's our Halloween card, which used the sponging along the edges of the card. So it pulls in all that black. Okay, we'll get cleaned up here again, and we'll get out our last card. Oh, nope, you know what? Not quite done with this. I did have these, they're iridescent pearls, because we have to add some sparkle. And I'm just going to place these sort of out around my spider web. There we go, now we're done. I don't know if you can see, they sort of have like a purpley green. They're iridescent. Okay. There's that. Put that card aside. And our last card is going to use this Gather Together stamp set. This was in last year's holiday catalog, and it carried over to this year because it was so popular. So the colors we have that we're going to use are actually based on this. I'm using this Magic in the Night Designer Series paper. I'm using this pattern on it. And so Blackberry Bliss, Cajun Craze, and Pretty Peacock are all colors featured on this paper. So I decided that was the color scheme then I would use on this card. And Stampin' Up! Includes all those colors when you buy Designer Series paper. All the coordinating colors are printed on the back here so that you know which colors will coordinate with the paper that you're buying, which is really nice and helpful. So that's the Magic in this Night Designer Series paper. And I also use the rectangle stitch dies. We're using the scalloped linen ribbon. Get all my stamp sets out here. So I have a thick Whisper White, 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. I can see some people are commenting. Sorry, I can't read the comments while I'm trying to do this. It's like I can focus on one thing at a time or something I'm having, but I will definitely go back and read comments afterwards. So this is the Designer Series paper. It's 4 by 5 1/4. I have a piece of the basic gray, which if you don't have the stitched rectangle shapes, this shape is 4.5 by 3 1/4. And then I have a layer of Whisper White, which is 4 by 2 3/4. And then I also have a scrap of Whisper White for our sentiment, which is 7/8 of an inch. And then it's just long enough for my sentiment. I'm going to trim it down so I don't have a length measurement for that. So again on this, I thought the white was a little bit too white with this card in the darker colors that I'm using. So using the Cajun Craze, I'm going to fleck the edge of this card as well. Should give myself some room here. So again, I'm just going around the edge and adding in that color. Okay. Oh, I'm going to keep this because I'm going to use that. So as you can see, it just tones down that white when I add this layer to it. It's not so bright and stark against the designer series paper. And so I'm going to set these aside. I don't quite need them yet. So I am going to stamp the leaf pattern on this Whisper White in basic gray. I like to use either, I use the black or the basic gray when I'm doing these outline type stamps. Sometimes I find the basic gray is a little bit less harsh than a black, depending on what other colors I'm using. So we're just going to randomly stamp these on our Whisper White layer. And then I do have Cajun Craze, and there's a speckled stamp in that set. So I'm going to sort of just randomly put some in between where I have my leaves, like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sponge these leaves and just add some, a little bit of color to them. Not a lot. And then, as I said, I use the color palette from that designer series paper, so I'm going to add some of the Blackberry Bliss in here as well. And then I will do the Pretty Peacock. So there you go. Those are our stamped, our sponged leaves. So my sentiment I'm going to do in the Cajun Craze. On my 7/8 inch wide paper. Center that down in there. And then I'm going to flag the end of it. Like that. And then I decided that I wanted to add this ribbon. So I'm going to put tape on the back here. I just want the scalloped edge of it to show. So I'm going to do it like this and line it up. Like that. Use my scissors, trim it. And then do that same thing on the top. There. And then I like that. It brought in that pretty peacock color. So I do have a sentiment for the inside. May this season bring you smiles and love that will last all year. So I thought that was kind of nice to put on the inside. And again, you can do stamp some of those leaves on the inside as well to bring the outside theme of the card to the inside. Like that. And now we can just put our layers together. Oh, so I didn't do the, every week I pick a winner for the, if you comment or share. So last week's winner was Sue Rowe. Congratulations. I will stick something in the mail for you later today. It'll probably go out in tomorrow's mail. You won the raffle prize. So if you comment or share every week, well, in my video, every week I will draw a winner to win a prize from me. And if you're placing an order this month that's under $150, I'd appreciate it if you use this August host code. If not, if your order is over $150, then you should not use the code and get the rewards for yourself. So I'm going to use some dimensionals here and attach my sentiment. I have a blog. It's at stampdesignswithdenise.net, where I will blog all pictures of all these cards, links to the videos, and the card measurements and everything. But I will also put the card measurements in this video on Facebook when it finishes processing. So that's that card. So let's get all of our cards out here with our different sponging. So this one I sponged inside the leaves and I did the flecking along the edge. This one I did the flecking along the edge, but it's a fun fold. And then this one I did the masking and the sponging in the middle. So I hope you like these cards. Thank you so much for watching, participating. I will go back and read your comments and see if you have any questions. Please ask me, let me know, and remember to leave a little sparkle wherever you go.